Hey, what up, YouTube, and welcome back to a new video with Rats Fan at YT. I've got a pretty bad cold at the moment, but the predictions videos must happen regardless. Yeah, a bit of a tame week, I would say, relatively speaking, in terms of some of the fixtures this week. There's a few important games, but nothing really stood out to me. In terms of the video which was suggested by Sheffield Wednesday night or something like that, in terms of the top 100 Derby players of all time, in my opinion. Well, I'm going to do that in a two-parter, and I've finished planning that, so that may be out come the end of this week, the first part of it. But this is the predictions video, and tonight we have a National League clash between Rochdale and Tamworth. I think this one could be quite a close game. Tamworth do know how to keep games nice and tight. They had the best defence in the league by far last season. And they are quite a tenacious team this season. I think Rochdale will be wanting to get a win just to make sure that they get back into that playoff picture, having dropped out of the playoff after missing a couple of games themselves. I'm going to go with a 1-0 win for Rochdale here. Got a few games in the EFL Trophy, even though the draw has already been made. We've got Blackpool versus Aston Villa's under-21s. How much do Blackpool actually want to go via this competition is debatable. And we certainly know how good Aston Villa's under-21s have been so far this tournament. I am going to go with Aston Villa under-21s to win 4-0. I saw somebody mentioning that maybe the Aston Villa under-21s versus Birmingham City could be a final if it goes certain ways this season. But that means that they will have to get past the next round, where we have actually received the what do you call it? Round the draw, and I believe. Is this one the one against stupid Wikipedia doesn't actually have the draw? We'll go BBC. The BBC will be reliable. It'll be against Bradford City. There you go. So yeah, Aston Villa 4, Blackpool 0 on that one. We're going to go on to the next one of Peterborough United versus Northampton Town. The Nene Derby, I did get that right last time round, is occurring, this EFL Trophy. I think this one won't be quite like it was it last week or week before, with Northampton winning. I think Peterborough will probably want to get a bit of vengeance, and then it will be a bit of a better game. I'm going to go 5-1 to Posh here. Will be an interesting game regardless. That will see them taking on Walsall at home. Also, in the National League North tonight, we have Brackley Town versus Kings Lynn Town. Kings Lynn have done well this season. That cannot be disputed. I certainly didn't expect to see a full turnaround compared to where they were last season. They are currently fourth, having been unbeaten in the last 4 games. Brackley doing all right, 1 point off the playoffs themselves. Both teams will be wanting to get valuable points here. I'm going to go with Kings Lynn to win this one, 3-1 to the Linnets. Hereford versus Scarborough. A bit of a surprise package this season has been Hereford, who are also only 1 point off the playoffs. Don't forget Scarborough, who have had a bit of an upturn in form, but they are still quite mixed considering this season in 14th. I'm going to go with a 3-1 win at Edgar Street for Hereford here. In the National League South, we've got Salisbury versus Maidstone United. Now, Maidstone have been on a pretty decent run as of late, which has pushed them to only 3 points off the playoffs. A win tonight could see them getting into the playoffs. However, Salisbury is not an easy game. They are 19th, and they are going to be desperately trying not to get dragged into that relegation picture. And I think they might cause a bit of an upset here. 2-0 to the Salisbury team. Tunbridge Angels versus Cheshire United. Both of these teams pretty mid-table at the moment. We got Tunbridge in 11th and Cheshire in 14th. I couldn't split much between these two teams here. I'm going to go with a 0-0 draw. We've got some EFL Cup action, which is probably the most exciting action, is the EFL Cup quarterfinals. And we've got Arsenal versus Crystal Palace, which is happening twice this weekend, but this one is at home to the Emirates of Arsenal. So, yeah, I think Arsenal will be wanting the silverware a bit more. I think Crystal Palace will be focused on survival. 5-0 to the Gunners here, which will certainly be put them in definite good contention of winning the EFL Cup. Newcastle United versus Brentford. Both of these teams are pretty comfortable this season in the Premier League. Neither have got fears of relegation. Brentford have got a cheeky eye on Europe, but let's be honest, I don't think they're going to be too bothered about it. Of course, this cup does provide entrance into the Conference League, so in terms of that regard, Brentford may want to win it to ensure Europe, but these are 11th and 12th in the Premier League, so yeah, neither of them are really, at the moment, I think, sustainable enough to get European. I go Newcastle United to win this one, 1-0. I know how passionate the Geordies want to win some silverware. Southampton versus Liverpool. I think Liverpool may take this one slightly slack because they are probably more focused on the league. And they really have an eye on the quadruple. We're going to go 3-2 to Liverpool here. After some substitutions claw them back into the game. Tottenham Hotspur versus Manchester United. Both of these teams are in mid-table this season, very much underperforming, 10th v 13th. Both of them will actually maybe even need the EFL Cup to get European football, so this may have a bit of a bigger impact than people expect. I want Tottenham to win this one 2-0. Luton Town versus Derby County is the Friday night fixture. Yet again, Derby on a Friday night here. I think down to Kenilworth Road, Luton are going to grind out a result here, 1-0. I'm not optimistic. I wish I could say otherwise, but yeah. We did do well against Portsmouth, though, so hopefully we take that forward to it, maybe. Cambridge United versus Huddersfield Town. Yeah, this is an interesting game also on the Friday night. Cambridge will be wanting something to get survival. Huddersfield have an eye on the automatics race, in a sense. They'll definitely want to be getting playoffs at least. They have got some amazing form of late. Cambridge do have a lot of draws, though, in there, and I'm going to go with a 0-0 draw here. I think it'll be a close, cagey affair at the Abbey Stadium. Stockport County versus Peterborough Sports. Yeah, Peterborough have been a bit rocky this season altogether. Very mid-table in 13th. Stockport have impressed in 5th. But I must say, I'm expecting to see a draw here. A 1-1 draw. Yeah, that'll be an interesting one if Stockport win that one. Wycombe Wanderers versus Bolton Wanderers. Wycombe are on that amazing unbeaten run at the moment, which just seems to be going on and on and on. Who can beat this? Well, Bolton Wanderers do certainly pose a chance. They'll be wanting to win here. They're 1 point off the playoffs, although they'll need 3 goals goal difference. I can see them getting something from this game. 4-2 to Bolton Wanderers, and the shock end of a run to the Chairboys unbeaten run. Crewe Alexandra versus Colchester United in more Friday night action, this time in League 2. Both of these teams are playing for completely different reasons. Colchester will be wanting to survive this season, and they do look fairly comfortable to be able to maintain that. Crewe, they're in 3rd. They'll be wanting to solidify their place into the playoffs. I think it's going to, into the automatic rather. I'm going to go with a 2-1 draw to Crewe Alexandra. Fairly comfortable for the Railwaymen. Gillingham versus Cheltenham Town. Gillingham are only 2 points off the playoffs themselves. Cheltenham have had a bit of a good run of form of late. They're in 13th. A lot of draws in there, though, of their recent form. I could see this being quite a good game. Cheltenham 2, Gillingham 0. Yeah, bit of a shock result maybe. Aston Villa versus Manchester City. Where have Manchester City form gone? Well, if you are my dad, then you are of the belief that it is some sort of conspiracy of some sorts of that the City players have all been told that they are going to be relegated or something, whatever, come the end of the season, so there is not much point in performing anymore. Whatever it is, their form has been absolutely woeful with only, I think, one win in the last 10. It's not good reading, and Aston Villa can certainly provide a challenge here at home at Villa Park. I'm going to go 1-0 to Villa. Yeah, have a bad run of form for Pep Guardiola's men. Will continue. Brentford versus Forest. Forest somehow over Champions League. I don't want to hear it. Brentford, I'm going to back you. You're going to win this one. 3-2 to the Bees here. Ipswich Town versus Newcastle United. Ipswich have had decent games in their locker this season, but they've just not managed to get the results. I think this one will be one where they'll try and get results because they've actually got more touchable into the. They're more within touching my mouth at the moment. They are more within touching reach of the safety position, partly due to Wolverhampton's bad forms and partly due to some good performances of their own over the last few games. I think they could win this one. I feasibly do. 3-1 to Ipswich. It's a bit of a bold prediction, I must say, but it will see them getting out of a relegation zone if the Leicester game goes their way. West Ham United versus Brighton and Hove Albion. Not much riding on this game altogether. If Brighton win, they could potentially get into the what used to be the UEFA Cup Europa League positions, but they'll need a healthy goal swing in their favour. West Ham, pretty comfortable from safety. I think this has got a boring game written all over it. A 0-0 draw here at the London Stadium. And a bit of a London derby, Crystal Palace versus Arsenal to wrap up the Saturday of a Premier League action. And Arsenal will certainly be wanting to continue their good run of form and potentially try and push into the top two. They can't do it this weekend, but a good form will certainly do them a world of good. Up against a Crystal Palace team, which aren't the greatest one. They have been on a good run of late themselves, not losing in the last 5 games. But I think this will be a loss for the Eagles here. We go 1-0 to the Gunners. In the second time they'll be facing each other in a matter of weeks. Well, in a matter of days, actually. Hull City versus Swansea City in an early kickoff in the Championship. Yeah, Swansea got a long way to travel here to go up to Hull. I think one of the things is that Hull will be desperately wanting points at home here. They are rooted at the bottom of the table in 16th. They did get a draw recently, but yeah, their form is nothing to write home about. And that's really clutching at straws when you say they got a draw 2 games ago. Swansea, they're in 10th. They probably haven't got an eye on the playoffs, but I think a solid season outing for them altogether. 1-0 to the Swans here, fairly piling the misery onto the Tigers. Portsmouth versus Coventry City. Portsmouth will be wanting a response from their thrashing from Derby earlier last week on the Friday game. And they are only 1 point off the safety themselves. Coventry do provide a good chance for them to get a point. It'll be a tough, competitive game at Fratton Park. 3-3 draw here. A good one for the TV cameras because that's also an early kickoff, all things considering. There's a lot of early kickoffs in the Championship this week because there's another one of Sheffield Wednesday versus Stoke. Both of these teams are doing all right this season. Stoke in their perpetual 17th place position. They'll probably be around about 16th, 17th, 18th come to the end of the season. Sheffield Wednesday, 5 points off the playoffs. So I think it's a bit of a pipe dream for them to be able to get that, to be honest. I can see the points being split here. A 1-1 draw. Burnley versus Watford. bit more of an exciting game, I would say. Burnley in third, 1 point off the automatic zone, whereas Watford a goal difference off the playoffs. This could be a very interesting game because both of these teams have not been beaten in a long time, and I think that will continue for both sides. A 1-1 draw here at Turf Moor doesn't do a world of good for Burnley. It does mean more drop points in that race, but it does help Watford, I think, slightly. Cardiff City versus Sheffield United. Sheffield United are going to probably cement themselves at the top of the table here. Cardiff in 21st, looking very much in danger of potentially going down. I'm going to go 1-0 to the Blades here. Be a close game, though. Leeds United versus Oxford United. Oxford United are in 20th. They have just sacked Des Buckingham in what I think is... I'm a bit surprised. I think if that draw was a loss, I probably would have sacked him. But I think in their third season back, what are they really expecting? They were quite a shocked team to get promoted in the first place. I do think they'll lose here against Leeds United, though. 3-0 at Ellen Road for the home side. Yeah, pretty comfortable for Leeds altogether. Millwall versus Blackburn. Oh, this game. Blackburn, they've got wins. They've won the last 6+ games. I've only got the last 6 on the screen in front of me. They may have won the last more than that. Millwall have lost the last 3. They're in mid-table. They have fallen off the pace slightly. I think Blackburn are written winners all over this. 2-1 to Rovers. Plymouth Argyle. Oh yeah, this will be Neil Harris's last game, of course, at the club. After saying some quite derogatory things about the fans from what I've heard. But whether he deserves to be sacked, I don't think so at the moment. That's an interesting move from Millwall. Plymouth Argyle versus Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough in 6th. They have had some wild form of late. A win, a loss, a draw, a win, a loss, a win. Yeah, very mixed form, it must be said. All over the shop, really, against a whole host of oppositions. Plymouth Argyle have lost the last 4. I think if Plymouth lose this one, it's very danger time for them, and they should probably get rid of Wayne Rooney. But I think Wayne Rooney will get a point here. 3-3. It's a home tie, which is important because their home form this season, Plymouth have been good at home. Let's not forget that. So yeah, we're going to go with a 3-3 draw. Queen's Park Rangers versus Preston North End. 16th versus 18th. 1 point separate them. They've both conceded 27 goals, both scored 21 goals. This has got a draw written all over it. However, I think QPR at home may just edge out this game. I'm going to go with a 1-0 draw to QPR here at Loftus Road. And I've not been backing QPR a lot recently, but they've had good run of form as of late. So yeah, maybe I should start. Sunderland versus Norwich City. Norwich City in 12th, Sunderland in 4th. Sunderland only 2 points off the automatic zone. They'll be wanting to continue some good run of form of their own in the last 3 games against Norwich, who have had a bit of mixed form of late. 3-1 to the Black Cats at home at the Stadium of Light. Yeah. Bristol Rovers versus Wrexham in an earlier kickoff in League One. Bristol Rovers, I think, have just dropped. Yep, well, they are just above, the relegation zone by 2 points. Not great. Wrexham, on the other hand, are 1 point off the automatic zone. This could be an important game. Bristol Rovers at home, though, not an easy place, and they'll be desperately wanting a result. And they do tend to get it against the stronger teams in this league. 1-0 to Bristol Rovers here, which will provide a bit of relief around the club, it must be said. Lincoln City versus Reading. Both of these teams have got a cheeky half-eye in the playoffs. Lincoln City 3 points off the playoffs. Reading in the playoffs, but only by a point. Could be a close affair game here. I'm going to go with a 1-0 draw at Sincil Bank, which will be the 3rd draw in a row for the Imps. and not a good result for Reading, probably, who have got an eye on wanting to get into the playoffs come the end of the season. Barnsley versus Leyton Orient. Barnsley are in 7th. They are 1 point off the playoffs. They will be seeing this as a must-win game against the Leyton Orient team, who are not beaten in the last 3, but are down in 18th. They have not been impressive this season either. 2-1 to the Tykes here at Oakwell. Yeah, fairly routine win for the South Yorkshire team. Blackpool versus Stevenage. Stevenage in 12th. They have picked up form of late. 2 wins in the last 2 games. Could they make it 3 in a row up against Blackpool? Blackpool in 10th. They have won the last 3 games. So someone's one of just getting wins is going to come to the end. And I do think Blackpool win this one. I'm going to go 3-0 to Blackpool here at home. Yeah. Burton Albion versus Exeter City. Burton Albion at home here. They'll be desperately wanting to get something out of the out of form Exeter team as of late. They aren't in the greatest run of form themselves in 23rd, but I am going to say that they are going to lose. I'm going to say 1-0 to Exeter. They'll get back to getting some good form. It'll be a scrappy win. It won't be pretty, but they'll get it. Mansfield Town versus Rotherham United. Mansfield Town only just picked up a point in their last game, having been losing, I think, the last 6 or 7 games. They have not been great, and I think this is going to be another loss for them. Rotherham have decided to pick up form at the right time of the season when games come thick and fast. 1-0 to the Millers here, really compiling the pressure on Nigel Clough. Northampton Town versus Charlton Athletic. Northampton Town are in 19th. Their new management is under construction at the moment. I've actually appointed their new manager yet, having had John Brady recently leaving the club, didn't he? I could have sworn I saw that John Brady was leaving the club. I am now really doubting myself in terms of this because I've just Googled it and I saw that John Brady was. No, it's still vacant. So they're not going to manage it yet. So they're still on that restructuring period. I thought John Brady had gone. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. They're in 19th, trying to get survival. Charlton are in 14th. I think this is going to draw written all over this one. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw here. Yeah, the points are split. Wigan Athletic versus Shrewsbury Town. Wigan are such a weird team this season. They've got 6 wins, 8 losses, and 5 draws. They've been a team which is just a bit of lower end of mid-table, but they're a bit like Stoke. They're beginning to stagnate in League One. League One Stoke is Wigan. There you go. Good chance to get a win here, though, against an out-of-favour Shrewsbury team at the moment. I'm going to go with 2-0 to the Latics at home. The early kick-off in League Two is a bit of a local derby, I would say, although I couldn't find much about it myself. I imagine people there do consider it a local derby of Barrow versus Fleetwood Town. Both of these teams are just across the sea from each other, in a sense. There's a weird coastal bit. So yeah, they're certainly, and both of them ply their trade quite a bit, involving ship industry, with Fleetwood known for its fishing and Barrow more known for its. I think they work on nuclear submarines in Barrow. I'm not sure. It's something like that. But yeah, 50th versus 60th as well, both on 23 points. It's going to be a close game no matter what. But I do think Fleetwood is going to win this one. 3-1 to Fleetwood. Yeah, close game. Not really, but yeah. Doncaster versus Tranmere Rovers. Doncaster Rovers have just dropped out of the automatic zone over the weekend just gone by. They're in 5th, but only a point off. And against Tranmere Rovers, who have been pretty poor this season in 19th, provides a good opportunity to getting a win here for the South Yorkshire team. 2-1 to Doncaster Rovers, I'm going to go with. Accrington Stanley versus Salford City. Salford are 12th and 4 points off the playoffs. Not too bad at the moment. They've had a bit of an upturn in form from the start of their season, but it's still a bit mid-table. And then when you look at it, Accrington Stanley have been a bit poor this season, struggling to adapt back down to League Two. So yeah, I'm going to go with a 3-0 win though for Accrington here at the Wham Stadium, because they'll be needing something to manage to get them into a solid mid-table end of the season. Chesterfield versus AFC Wimbledon. AFC Wimbledon are 4th, Chesterfield are 6th. Both of these teams could easily slip out of the playoffs. It's so close up there. But I think it's also a good close game and another chance for either time to also get into the automatic promotion spots. I go with a close KG 0-0 draw here at Chesterfield's home ground. Doesn't do either side a lot of good come the end of the day. But yeah, I've still got that cheeky bet about well, not actually bet about a cheeky suspicion that Chesterfield could well get promotion this season. Harrogate Town versus Walsall. Walsall are top of league. They are so dominant this season. They've only lost 3 times. They like to keep it tight at the back. They've got a decent attacking forward line as well. They're up against the Harrogate side who have been, I think they're just content with survival this season. I think they may end up with their 4th loss in a row. 2-0 for Walsall here. So yeah, that will be an interesting one to see how Harrogate will approach their next game, knowing that it will be 4 losses on the bounce. This game, not many people are going to win against Walsall this season, so it's not a great discredit. Morecambe versus Bromley. This is an important game for Morecambe. They are 2 points off survival and will probably be wanting to win against a team like Bromley. Bromley in 14th. I mean, 9 draws this season seems quite an excessive amount, and I think they're going to add another one to their tally. A 0-0 draw here at the Mazuma or Globe Arena or whatever it is. They've changed their name every season. But yeah, that point may prove to be a good point, or it could prove to be 2 points drop come the end of the season. It is a very close one. It's too early to say, really. Newport County versus MK Dons. Newport County have drawn the last 4 games, believe it or not. MK Dons' unbeaten run winning run came to an end in shock fashion last game, when they lost only a solitary 1-0 against MK Dons. Sorry, not against MK Dons, against Gillingham. They are in a position to definitely get back into the playoffs. But I think at Newport could be a difficult game. I'm going to go with another 0-0 draw here, extending Newport's drawless run to 5 games, and it does not help MK Dons in any way, shape, or form. Notts County versus Bradford City. Notts County probably had an eye on the playoffs at the beginning of the season in that good rate of form. They are currently in 11th. They're only 3 points off the playoffs, so mind you, and they've had a good goal difference. That also does do some wonders. They're up against Bradford City, who are in 10th, also with an eye on the playoffs. It's going to be a good game no matter what. I'm going to go 4-2 to Notts County here, which could well see them getting back into that playoff picture. Port Vale versus Carlisle United. Port Vale in 2nd, Carlisle in 24th. It's a pretty much formality of the game. I think it may be a bit closer than some expect, though. 1-0 to some based Port Vale. Swindon Town versus Grimsby Town. Grimsby, I don't know what they're doing this season, but they are currently in 7th. Something is going well at the waters up there. But up against Swindon Town, who'll be wanting to get some points to make sure they don't get relegated. They're only 2 points from safety. I think they'll get something from this one at home. 2-1 to Swindon Town here. Bit of a shock result, I know. but Grimsby were the shockers at one point. So yeah. On to the National League, we've got Barnet versus FC Halifax Town. This is a chance for Barnet to capitalise on themselves being top of the league, unbeaten in quite a long time now. We're up against FC Halifax Town, who are only a point off well, not even a point really, they are a solitary goal in goal difference terms away from being into playoffs. They're not going to be an easy team to beat. They have only conceded 22 goals this season. Solid defence. I will say that. I'm going to go with a 0-0 draw here. Not what Barnet will be wanting to hear, but will probably be a fair result come the end of this game. Braintree Town versus Oldham Athletic. Oldham Athletic, solid playoff team at the moment by the looks of it. They are in 5th with 40 points. Somebody said that they may have an outside shout of getting the title because they've got about 2 games in hand. If they get 2 wins from that, then maybe we can start having a conversation, possibly. But against Braintree Town here, it's a must-win game. Braintree Town in the relegation zone on goal difference. I'll go 3-0 to Oldham Athletic. Fairly routine win for the Greater Manchester club. Eastleigh versus Maidenhead United. Maidenhead will want to be winning this game to get them out of the relegation zone because they are on 20 points, as is Braintree, as is Waleston. All 3 of them, and there is just goal difference at the moment. They've conceded too many goals this season, Maidenhead, which is never a good recipe. They have scored a few, but not enough to put games to bed. Eastleigh haven't lost in their last 4 games, but that has involved 3 draws. I think this could be a very exciting game. I really do. 30 pace Eastleigh haven't got much to play for. 3-2 to Maidenhead here, which could well see them push up out of a relegation zone if results go their way. And with Braintree playing Oldham, could certainly see them going up to 21st. Maidenhead would be that one team I would have to survive come the end of the season, out of all of the bottom 5 teams. Ebbsfleet United versus Gateshead. Ebbsfleet are going to win this. I'm going to say it now. It's a mad game, but 4-2 Ebbsfleet United up against Gateshead. I've got zero logic to base it on. Gateshead in 4th, Ebbsfleet are rooted at the bottom of the table. But sometimes weird stuff like that does happen. Although we could well see Gateshead winning 5-0 like Tottenham did against Southampton. On to Forest Green Rovers versus Aldershot Town. Forest Green Rovers 2 points off that title spot and an automatic return straight back up to League 2 of the EFL football. They're up against Aldershot Town. They don't want to be messing about here. Aldershot have lost their last 3 games despite what I've been trying to say. Forest Green Rovers 2, Aldershot Town 1. Hartlepool United versus Yeovil Town. Hartlepool in 12th. They're a team which has been really mixed this season. I don't know quite what to make of Hartlepool because some people would have probably thought they would have tried to be challenging for the playoffs. Some people would have said they'll just be content to be 16th. They're in 12th, so it's a bit of a halfway house between the two. They're up against Yeovil in 7th. Yeovil want to be consolidating themselves into the playoffs now that they've reached it. But Hartlepool are not an easy game, and it is a heck of a long way for the away fans to travel. 2-1 to the Monkey Hangers here. Yeah, I think certainly pushing them into that top 10 if results go their way will be certainly a signal of intent. Rochdale versus Boston. You expect that Rochdale, if they wanted to get back into the playoffs, will want to be winning this one up against a Boston team who is not doing too well this season. But I think this could be a draw, a 0-0 draw. I think Boston are going to try and go back to basics. They've conceded too many goals this season. That has been their tale. Too many goals conceded, not enough goals scored. Solihull Moors versus AFC Fylde. Fylde are in 18th. I reckon they'll probably be okay. They're only 2 points from safety, though, it must be said. They can't be discredited from the relegation picture. But up against Solihull Moors. Solihull Moors 2 points from the playoffs. They'll probably win this one fairly routinely. 2-1 to Solihull Moors. Sutton United versus Tamworth. Sutton United in a 11th place. Maybe some people thought they would have done a bit better in their relegation back down. I'm sort of where I expected them to be. Tamworth, I would have expected them to be slightly better, but they are mixing it up with the top boys. Not really a fair relegation, not really challenging promotion. That's a solid position to be in for them. I know with a 1-1 draw here. The points are shared at the end of the day. Wealdstone versus Dagenham and Redbridge. So yeah, I'm actually going to remain head to get out relegation zone. I think Wealdstone will be dragged in there up against Dagenham and Redbridge, who have won the last two, and I think in a London derby they'll win this one as well. 2-0 to the Daggers. Woking versus Altrincham. Woking have lost the last two. They are not looking the most safe team either. And up against an Altrincham team which are in sixth, I reckon it is going to spell another loss for them. 3-2 to Alty here. York City versus Southend United. York will be wanting to win this one to get to the top of the league. And if they do, and Barnet do drop that, only get that point, as I said, they will go top of the league. And I think they will fairly comfortably. 3-0 against Southend United, who have gone unbeaten in the last four, but they are still very mid-table at the moment. In the National League North, got Alfreton Town versus Radcliffe. I heard someone say yesterday on a podcast I was listening to that Alfreton are the most Route 1 boring, fuggish. I don't understand how anybody likes watching their football team in the entirety of the National League North. I don't know if that's entirely fair, but they are certainly known for being very physical and very much a non-league team that will be orthodox, let's say. If Sean Dyche was at Alfreton, it would just be a perfect combination. But yeah, I think up against Radcliffe here, they'll be expecting all 3 points at home. But you know what? I think Radcliffe, they're only 2 points off safety themselves. And they'll be having an eye on Farsley's recent torrid form and thinking that they could get safety. I'm going to go with a 0-0 draw here. It'll be a scrappy 0-0 draw, not a pleasant match to watch at all. Chester versus Kings Lynn Town. Yeah, Chester, I think they've underperformed a little this season. I would have expected them, well, their expectations at the start of the season, anyway, from a lot of the fan bases were saying, yeah, guaranteed title race charge. Look at the budget they have been spending. Well, they're 2 points off the playoffs, so they'll definitely have an eye on that. But they're certainly not as good as I expected them to be. But at home at the Diva Stadium against Kings Lynn Town, that's not an easy game. Kings Lynn are 4 points off the title, but I think Kings Lynn might lose this one here. 3-0 to Chester, getting them into that playoff spot. Chorley versus Rushall Olympic. Chorley can get something from this game. I couldn't think anything else that would wrap in that particular context. But Chorley against Rushall Olympic. Rushall Olympic are in 24th. They're about to lose their 5th game of a spin, I fear. At the moment, they are just cut adrift at the bottom. They're 8 points from safety. Not a chance they're staying up. Up against Chorley. This is a good chance for Chorley to get back onto winning ways, having lost the last two. 2-1 to the Magpies here. Yeah, sorry, Rushall. It's not your day at the end of it. On to the next one, we've got Farsley Celtic versus Brackley Town. Do I even need to even talk about this game? Brackley are so obviously going to win this one. Farsley been horrid of late. 4-1 to Brackley Town, and Farsley's woes will continue. Kidderminster Harriers versus Southport. Kidderminster Harriers will probably be expected to be maybe second place or definitely an eye for the title. They are only 5 points off the title positions themselves, but up against Southport, they're a bit of a bogey team, to be honest. And Southport is 16th. I think Southport could get something from this, 2-0 to Southport. Bit of a shock result. But I think they'll take it to continue their mid-table run of form. Leamington versus Curzon Ashton. I don't think Curzon Ashton will win this one. Shock horror. They are top of the league, and that is actually quite a big thing. I think Leamington needs something to stop their drastically bad run of form. They are the longest losing run in the entirety of the top six leagues, I believe. Yeah, 4-1 for Leamington here to end that run. One day I will be right, and that will be a bit of a shock result. And certainly make Curzon Ashton force to fort, even though they have been one of the best teams this season. Needham Market versus Darlington. Needham Market are in 23rd. They have actually not been beaten in the last 3 games. I reckon they can extend it here against Darlington, not been beaten in the last 5. A lot of draws between these two clubs. I'm going to go with a 0-0 draw here for Needham Market. Yeah, they'll be having a bit of an eye on safety themselves. They're only 3 points away now. I mean, we were saying for a while that they'd be cut off adrift, but they'd be gaining something. They finally seem to be adjusting to the league. Oxford City versus Spennymoor Town. Oxford are in 18th. They at one point looked like they were going to get well and truly dragged into that relegation zone. Up against Spennymoor at home. Spennymoor have not been beaten in the last 6 or so, but there's a fair few draws in that run as well. I think this game is going to be a 0-0 draw, another draw for Spenny, which I don't think Oxford will have played too much about, as it does just keep them going along steadily. Scarborough Athletic versus Peterborough Sports. Peterborough Sports in 15th, similar, the identical run of form as Spennymoor have been on, up against a Scarborough side in 14th. It is 14th versus 15th. Very close game. Peterborough Sports I've actually been subtly impressed with this season. I did slightly think that they would be challenging towards relegation zone in their second season. But no, they're comfortably mid-table. Up against a Scarborough team who I would have thought we do slightly better. 1-1 draw here at Scarborough Stadium. Yeah, can't see much between these two clubs at the moment. Scunthorpe United versus Hereford. Scunthorpe United in second. They'll be wanting to get something for this one. Hereford's not an easy game. Let's save that for least, because Hereford are only 1 point off the playoffs. But 4-1 at Glanford Park for Scunthorpe here. Just a pretty routine win, to be honest. South Shields versus Marine. South Shields are down in 11th. They are only 2 points off the playoffs. They, I think, have an outside chance. I certainly wouldn't write them off yet. And at home to Marine, certainly chance to get 3 points. Marine in 21st, lost the last 2 games. Yeah, I think South Shields will get back to winning ways after their meeting run was stopped last weekend. 2-1 to South Shields here. I think that'll be a good game to watch. Warrington Town versus Buxton. Warrington Town are in 19th and haven't won in what seems like an age. They're up against Buxton, who have been the nice surprise package of the league. Maybe even the best team this season, considering where they were at the start of the season. John McGrath doing a brilliant job there. But I think Warrington might win this one. It's a bit of their bogey team for Buxton, Warrington. I go 1-0 Warrington Town, which is not what the books want to hear. But as I said, bogey teams do exist. Unfortunately, every team has them. On to the National League seats. The National League South, we have Bath City versus Aveley. In a bit of a relegation 6-pointer here, Bath City are in 19th, Aveley are in 15th. Sorry. City are in 20th with 19 points, Averley in 21st with 15 points. If Averley win this one, they'd certainly close that gap down to 1 point and will swing the goal difference into their favour. But I think Bath City will win this one. They'll be wanting to move away from that relegation zone. Both have lost their last 2 games as well. 3-0 at Twerton Park for the Romans. Yeah, Bath to win this one. Borough Wood versus Tunbridge Angels. Borough Wood have been unstoppable of late. They have come from a mid-table slumber to have an either title. They are already 1 point off it. They are wanting to make that instant return to the National League. Up against Tunbridge Angels, not an easy competition, but I think they will well and truly demolish them. 7-0 for Borough Wood here. It's going to be heavy, but it's certainly going to see Borough Wood deserve to go top of the league, but they won't if Torquay do win, though. Must say that. Chelmsford City versus Weymouth. Chelmsford City down in 15th, but they must be expected to win this one against Weymouth, who have lost their last 4. Weymouth have been so I don't even know what the word torrid to watch. It's just a horrible situation of that club at the moment. 1-0 to Chelmsford here, just compiling of a misery for Weymouth. Cheshire United versus Dorking Wanderers. Cheshire in 14th. They've been impressive at new boys to this league. Dorking in 5th, as you would probably be about expecting. I'm going to go with a 0-0 draw here. Cheshire certainly have provided some upsets this season, and this could well be another one. Hampton and Richmond Borough versus Slough Town. Both of these teams are sort of mid-table with an outside shout for playoffs. Slough Town in 10th, 4 points off the playoffs. Hampton Richmond Borough 13th, 6 points off the playoffs. Need a bit of a run of form together, and maybe they might be able to go on a bit of a run. But I'm going to go with Hampton Richmond Borough, the home side to this one. 2-1 to the Beavers. Yeah, I could see this happening. Hornchurch versus Chippenham Town. Hornchurch, again, new boys to this league, but also doing quite well. They haven't actually lost in the last 5 games, and they are in 12th, sitting nice and happy there. I think they'll be content with that at the end of the season. Chippenham in 16th have lost the last 3, but I think they'll be wanting to get something from this game. I'll go with a 0-0 draw here, a close, evenly matched game, and I don't think either team will really mind finishing in their respective positions at the moment come the end of the season. Maidstone United versus Farnborough. Maidstone in 9th at the moment, but as I said earlier in the video, they were on that incredible run of form. They're up against Farnborough, though, who, let's not forget, are in 6th and are currently higher than them. This could be a close game. Farnborough have been a bit of a surprise for me this season. I go with a 1-0 draw here. Salisbury versus Welling United. Welling are one of them teams that are, well, it's 18th v 19th, and both of these teams could feasibly get something for this game. I could see it going either way. I'm going to go home advantage, 3-0 to Salisbury here, which will be a much needed result. And let's just say this, that Salisbury's managed to keep most games content. They've got quite a low goal difference. -3 goal difference compared to Birmingham around them, -14 and stuff. They have certainly managed to keep it fairly tight at the back. They've scored a fair few goals as well. So yeah. St Albans City versus Truro City. St Albans City in 23rd. I think they may end up getting relegated this season. They're up against Truro City, who apparently they're trying to style themselves as the Wrexham of the National League South of the next Wrexham fantasy story. They've definitely got an eye on getting promoted to the National League. Let's not kid ourselves here. I think Truro with this one, 2-1 to the Cornish outfit. We got Torquay United versus Hemel Hempstead Town. Torquay, top of the league. I think this is quite a winnable game against Hemel Hempstead, who have only just managed to stop their torrid run of winning their last game, but they were losing left, right, and centre. I think they're going to go back to losing here at Plainmoor. 3-2 to Torquay. Weston-super-Mare versus Eastbourne Borough. Eastbourne Borough are unlucky to have just dropped out of the playoffs. They are in 8th at the moment. Weston-super-Mare up in 3rd. Certainly think that they will also have an eye on the title. They are only 1 point behind, but they'll need to get something here. It's going to be a close game, though. 1-1 draw, not what the Weston-super-Mare fans will be wanting to hear. But yeah. Worthing versus Enfield Town. Worthing are in 7th. They are just clinging on to playoffs. By, I think it's goals scored or something like, yeah, goals scored. I think that's it. They scored 33 goals, conceded 30. They've got the exact same goal difference as Enfield. Not as Eastbourne, sorry. They're up against Enfield, who have not been great this season. They're in 22nd. They may just be able to survive. They've picked up 4 points from the last 2. A run of form like that will do them a lot of good, but I don't think they will against Worthing here. Difficult opposition. 3-0 for Worthing here. Everton versus Chelsea on the Sunday league. Well, Sunday games of what Super Sundays, what they call them, main event. Chelsea have not lost. Well, sorry, they've won the last 5 games and they've not lost in an age as well. They're up against an Everton side who has had some all right for themselves. They've picked up over the last 6 games a total of 6 points. A point a game is roughly what you need to stay in the league. I heard. If you're getting around about 36 points, you could probably just about survive, especially in this league this season, I'm feeling, because we are approaching the halfway point of the season, and if we're being honest, you're looking at the sides. Can they get 4 points in the next 2 games? The Leicesters and Ipswich, probably not. So yeah, I go with Everton to win this one though. At Goodison Park, 2-0, which will do them quite a lot of good in their survival hopes as well. Fulham versus Southampton. Southampton have sacked Russell Martin yesterday or the day before that. Unsurprising for me, certainly. You look at them, they've already picked up 5 points all this season. That ain't the type of form that you will be wanting if you are wanting to survive in this league. Who they will be appointing is, well, we've currently got Simon Rusk as an interim, but I have no idea who their thoughts will be on the long term. Should he have been sacked? You know what? I'm actually going to be charitable and say no, we shouldn't have. I'm just looking at the run of form. They have only picked up 5 points this season, but thinking about it, it's not been easy coming up, and I think it close in most of the games. They've only been. It was only against Chelsea and Tottenham, and it's not been close this season. And Manchester United and Brentford. The other games have not been close. The rest of them have only really had 1 or 2 goals in them. It's even against Brentford, there was only 2 goals in it, actually. So yeah, it has not been too much. And Fulham does provide a good chance for Southampton to get a win, but I do think Fulham will win this one at Craven Cottage. And maybe if he was still in charge, I would have said sack him then. 2-1 to Fulham here. They have been a solid outfit this season. Let's not kid ourselves. If they get Europe, that'd be great. I'm not even gonna lie. See Fulham back in Europe, back. It takes you back to the early 2010s, wasn't it? It was a 2009-10 season, wasn't it, or something like that, where they qualified for Europe. Leicester City versus Wolverhampton Wanderers. Leicester City are in 17th. Wolves are in 19th. Leicester will be desperately wanting to get something here. Wolves have just sacked their manager. I would have given him until this game against Leicester myself, although I still think they are going to lose against Leicester. 2-1 to the Foxes here. I think that'll be a valuable 3 points coming the end of the season for Leicester potentially, and may put Wolverhampton in even more danger. Manchester United versus AFC Bournemouth. Weirdly enough, Manchester United are actually underdogs coming into this game. Manchester United have they're currently in 13th. In their 16 games, they've had 6 wins, 4 draws, 6 losses, 22 points in total. Bournemouth are in 6th. They have picked up 10 points in the last 4 games. That's solid form, that. I think another win for Bournemouth here. 3-0 to the Cherries at Old Trafford. What is going on with Bournemouth this season is something else. Tottenham Hotspur versus Liverpool. Yeah, Liverpool, we wanted to get something here just to cement themselves on the top. But I think this is going to be another one of them weekends where all teams drop points. And Tottenham are going to win this one 2-1 to Spurs. West Bromwich Albion versus Bristol City. West Brom will be wanting to get back into the playoffs after having a bit of a run of form, a lot of losses, a lot of draws, and lost their last game. They're only 2 points off the playoffs. Against Bristol City, they can get back to winning ways, I think. Back to the drawing board. 2-0 to West Bromwich Albion here. And some Monday night football, we've got Crawley Town versus Birmingham City. And this is so obviously going to go Birmingham's way. Crawley Town in relegation zone. 5-1 to the Blues. Bit of an easy one to go. A bit of cop out. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please subscribe if you're new around here. That'll be hugely appreciated with my cold at the moment. We're going to try and release the Derby County Top 100 Part 1 come this potentially Friday. Maybe we'll do it on Thursday. But we will try and release that if my cold has gotten any better. But please subscribe and see you in the next one.